Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and likely today, whenever this video comes out, there's going to be a reset coming in. And with that reset is bringing a handful of buffs to Warlock, Aff, Demo Destruction, and also some Hellcaller buffs. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the talent builds that might be shifting, come today. And the builds I want to start with in Mythic Plus, probably in single target a bit and go from there. These builds might not be optimal. They might not be set in stone. A lot of things are changing. Quite often with talent builds, with hero talent tuning, just buffs and nerfs in general, there's been so many changes over the course of Warcraft so far, talent tree wise, even niche like talents here and there. But I want to give a general outline of where things may be heading into, I guess, day one of Warlock buffs. Week auras, add-ons, profiles, and like that. Links to the website as well as Twitch and Discord down below. You can get for free. Also heads up the website, Kalamazi.gg, which is up here and down below, is always up to date with the most recent talent builds, as long as I typically is, as long as I get around to doing it, which I try to maintain as much as possible. If you guys check it out, or in general, bookmark it, this, that, whatever, it will indeed be up to date tomorrow after stream when we finish testing the builds out and all of that. All right, so we're going to hop through each spec here, hitting briefly on what the changes are and talking about what might change talent-wise, even if things only change a whole lot for Affliction, which, I mean, they're not going to. I still want to hit on it. The buffs that are coming into Aff: Hellcaller, Wither buff by 25%, Agony 15, Corruption 25, Unstable Affliction 20. Now, these abilities here, I mean, they're basically all passive abilities. They're just part of your actual toolkit. There's no talents like Oblivion being buffed or things like that that might skew things or, I guess, change things a bit talent-wise. They're all just part of your baseline toolkit. Now, that basically means that not much is going to shift here when it comes to Soul Harvester in single target or AoE, or even Hellcaller in single target or AoE. Single target Soul Harvester is still playing the same stuff. You're playing Singularity into Infirmity, this build right here, which you can find on the website if you want it as well. Now, as far as like Harvester AoE is concerned, things honestly are pretty similar. You're playing Vile Taint, no Infirmity, Contagion. I've seen some play Ravenous over like Oblivion, but honestly, I don't really Ravenous over Death's Embrace on Oblivion. Apologies there. But honestly, it's almost one and the same. Now, the more interesting buffs that are coming into Affliction, however, are to Hellcaller. They're buffing Wither by 25%. Wither is a large portion of your damage when it comes to Mythic Plus. Now, talent-wise, once again, I don't expect anything to change here. This is going to be your single target talents for the most part for Hellcaller, and this is going to be your AoE M plus talents for Hellcaller. Playing Drain Soul, Vile Taint, no Infirmity, getting your dot damage buffs, 1 Contagion, 2 Malediction, going into Cold Week here. I've seen some play like 2 points in Contagion, 1 in Cold Week, and all that. I think this is still better, but it might vary a little bit depending on where things go. Wither being buffed is strong. Wither's like a very large portion of your damage when it comes to Hellcaller and M+. Even in single target, you're playing a point here in Sacrilash in both AoE, Mythic Plus, and even in single target, Wither is indeed that strong. If you want these builds, once again, on the website, but not really anything changed as far as these builds are concerned for Affliction. Now, getting into Demonology here, I don't think a whole lot really changes for Demo necessarily either. Similar to Affliction, a lot of buffs, debuffs that are coming in, are basically all to our passive toolkit. Dogs giving you 100% chance for cores again, great. Hand Golem 25, Dreadstalkers 20, except for the Grimoire Felguard change. Now, apparently Grimoire's under simming a little bit. It was doing better in game than it was in Sims, and this buff, regardless, makes it much better. I'm going to play Grimoire everywhere in single target, Mythic Plus, and go from there. Now, as far as the builds are concerned here, looking at Diabolist single target here, I don't think anything's going to change here. I'm already playing Grimoire in this build here. You're not playing Imperator anymore. At least I haven't seen Imperator being played anymore. Obviously, you're in Antorian, and what is like the gist of the single target kit. There is some variance in this build, though. I have seen some play Imperator. The more higher end logs recently haven't been playing it, so there's a little variance here and there. For the most part, this is where I'll still be. When it comes to AoE, though, AoE being like, I guess, M plus and all that, I do think I'm going to shift certain things around. Now, the Hand of Gul'dan buff by 25%, I believe. 25, and Dreadstalkers by 20 are both impactful, obviously. Hand of Gul'dan is increased by Touch of Rancora by 100% when it procs from your demons expiring, I guess spawning, as well as Soul Anathema. Sorry, not this. Demonic Soul, which is, part of this, but yeah. Demonic Soul, Succulent Soul Shards empower your next Hand of Gul'dan by 60%. So you generate a lot more shards as Soul Harvester for Demonology than you do Aff. So a lot more Succulent Souls, a lot more Hand of Ghouldan's being empowered there. I think both are good. I mean, I think this is undervalued in plus. I think Diabolist, whatever you want to call it, is very strong and likely a little better still, but we'll probably try both over the course of this week and go from there. Now, as far as the raw talent builds are concerned, I've seen 2 different builds sort of like shifting around and stuff people are talking about, and I think this is where I am going to start. So, well, okay, I want to start here. Now, I don't like losing Pact of the Ant Mother, but at the same time, I hate taking Umbral Blaze. I wish this was here. I wish Blaze cleaved. I wish Blaze was in this weird, undertuned, just like awkward single target ability where I want this in Mythic Plus. I want Grimoire in M Plus, and I mean, honestly, Fell Thunder is pretty good. It's just, you know, been gated behind Grimoire, which has been a pretty subpar talent for a long time now. It is no longer that way. So I might start here. I should say I will start here with Grimoire and Fell Thunder. And the other option I'm considering is, you know, playing both of these again and just pulling a point out of Shadow Invocation and hopping into Grimoire Felguard. A lot of players aren't even playing Invocation anymore. I've seen some playing a point in Sack Souls, which is an increase in single target. I've seen some playing points, I think up here in Imp Gang Boss instead of Shadow Invocation. Sort of like a floater point if you want, but I think initially, like I said, I'm going to start here and just see where, you know, all of this sort of lands me. I mean, you could even take this point and throw it somewhere over here in Shadow Invocation if you, or sorry, Saxels if you want, either way, but I think this is where I want to start with Grimoire and Fell Thunder. Thunder being good both. I mean, it's good in AoE, it's solid in single target, and while Grimoire is not with every single tyrant in M+, it does bring a lot of extra cleave relevancy when you have it with bigger tyrants. At the same time, it's a good bit more single target, so that semi-awkwardness of some saying Demonology's ST sort of mediocre at times, which I don't really think it is. I've heard it a little bit. Well, you know, Grimoire will make that a lot better. I do that for both the Soul Harvester builds as well, honestly. I haven't even played these builds in a very long time, so I'm not even sure they're up to date, but they probably sort of are for the most part, but I would just do a very similar thing. Just pull this and hop here, honestly. Whether you're playing Soul Harvester or Diabolist, both are getting, you know, the Hand of Ghouldan buff is coming into both, and both, once again, interact directly with Hand of Ghouldan as well through Diabolic Ritual, through Rancora and Demonic Soul. This second trait versus first trait every time, but it's fine. So there is that. As far as single talent changes are concerned, like I said, not really changing anything. I'm already playing Grimoire in that build, and I'm just going to keep, you know, pretty much rolling with that. Now, Destruction has a handful of changes coming in. So Wither, same as Affliction, just baseline 25% buff to Wither, which is very nice. Chaos Bolt, 10. Immolate, 25. Incinerate, 20. Conflagrate, 25. Rain of Fire, 20. So I don't think this is going to change much when it comes to the single target build, which is what I'm playing here, the Diabolist single target build. So there's a lot of like this sims better technically talents for Destruction, but in actuality, I don't think it is better, or it's not as good as it may seem. There is one caveat to that, and that is likely the fact that you're probably playing Crushing Chaos over Reign of Chaos in single target now. The Chaos Bolt buff does indeed, you know, they're buffing Bolt baseline, which means that you're going to be doing more damage with Crushing Chaos, which further, you know, empowers Chaos Bolts. So makes sense. I would like them to add Shadowburn to Crushing Chaos, maybe at some point. Probably release feedback videos later on this week as well, which we'll hit on that. But either way, in single target, you might see a shift towards Crushing Chaos. It might still be a Reign of Chaos world in certain fights, depending on what's going on. If it's like 2 targets or 3 targets or AoE based as well, we'll see. But let's say this is going to be like your de facto shift build here to single target. Now, they are buffing Incinerate, which means it adds a bit more value to Burn to Ashes. If you sim Burn to Ashes versus Chaos Incarnate right now, Burn to Ashes already sims ahead of Chaos Incarnate, at least for me, by like 4,500 DPS. But in actuality, in M+, or in rating, in their Palace, there is an incredible amount of movement required on every fight, which means that, I mean, I just can't cast Incinerates as much as I'd like to at certain points. So Burn to Ashes loses some value there. And 4 to 5k might seem like a lot. It's a little bit. Well, you're doing 1.5 million. It's not much as it may seem. So while this might sim higher, I am going to stick with Chaos Incarnate here. At least personally for me, and see where it goes. There is some debate as well around playing something besides Fiendish Cruelty here. I think I've heard Flashpoint simming a little higher. I think it's more, I don't love that either way, but yeah, it's just my personal bias towards Flashpoint being underpowered. But regardless, I think it might be more of, once again, like a numerical thing versus like an actuality thing, where Fiendish Cruelty is and Execute with Shadowburn gives you incredible movement. I mean, yes, they have buff Chaos Bolt by 10%, and they haven't buffed Shadowburn, but Shadowburn's still good. There's even some talk of a CDF build simming higher than Shadowburn by I think 3 or 4k. But once again, I think it's actuality versus raw numbers. Some bites, maybe you can leverage CDF build with Burned Ashes. On Anshrek, good luck. On Silken Court, no shot. Nexus Princess, highly doubt it. Brood Twister, no chance. There's just so much movement this raid required. I mean, Destro's been the lowest simming spec in single target all patch, yet it sees the most play. At least it had until recently with Demo and things. But point being, the movement that Shadowburn and Destro can bring in general is very strong. The Execute and all of that. So I'm going to stick with this build here. Some fights I might want Random Chaos still. We'll try out Crashing Chaos. There's been a bit of a weird end of fight Infernal thing where I want to dump, all my 8 Chaos Bolt stacks, but I'm trying to spam Shadowburn with Fiendish, and that could be a setting where maybe it does skew things a bit towards Random Chaos or pulls you away from Fiendish, possibly. But honestly, I'm sticking with this as far as single target is concerned, and just going from there. I do the same thing for whether it's Diabolist or Hellcaller in single target. Now, when it comes to M+, this is where the big shift, I guess, like big shift is where I want to look. I'm going to start here. I'm going to start right here. And go from there. Now, this is Hellcaller. This is not Diabolist. I think both are fine. Hellcaller is simming higher in overall AoE. And honestly, with all the buffs coming into Chaos Bolt, Immolate, Incinerate, Conflagrate, I don't think the single target will even be that bad. I mean, it should be pretty solid looking at the buffs and such coming in. I'm gaining about 100k, give or take, across both, I believe. Might even be a little more for Hellcaller with Wither buffs. I'm not sure exactly. I forgot what the sims look like. But regardless, this is where I want to start. Now, this build is playing Mayhem here. You can play Havoc. I lean a bit more towards Havoc with this build, not playing Shadowburn, which we're not in this build. We are playing Channel Demon Fire. Now, we talked about it a minute ago. CDF and Shadowburn are very close in sims. Once again, a bit more like an actuality thing with Shadowburn movement. Fiendish Cruelty, Execute, all that, versus like CDF stationary gameplay. It does channel faster with mastery on stuff, which is nice, and it feels pretty good to hit. It feels very fun to hit when you go into a pack with Malevolence up and go Cataclysm, Malevolence, all your withers that you apply by a Cata just flare up, you get a haste buff, some damage comes in, and slam CDF into a Rain of Fire, into an Infernal. That feels really good. That's a really fun way to play the game, and that's where I'm going to start on Tuesday. Well, later on today. We're playing Soulfire here. We are playing Decimation. I've seen the CDF Shadowburn build here, which is not, doesn't play Soulfire. I actually like that build a lot. I think it's a lot of fun, but I don't know if it's totally necessary or needed with like in certain elements after the buffs are coming into Chaos Bolt and Immolate and Incinerate and Conflagrate and Wither. All that being combined, this is where I want to start. Power Overwhelming being very solid as well in Sims now too. If you want to play Incarnate, you can, but I think PO's been pretty strong. And go from there. I've seen some play Crashing Chaos as well. I like Rain more in M+. Once again, this is where I'm going to be. Honestly, I'm really pumped for Hellcaller. Like, but certainly Destro. I think Hellcaller Destro with Cata, CDF, Wither gameplay is the most exciting gameplay we've had of any spec, any hero talent for Warlock since, a long time. It was it was awesome during beta. But Hellcaller was nerfed a bit towards the end. Harvester and Diabolist are buffed a bit towards the end. Things ended up being basically a Soul Harvester Diabolist world. I know I'm saying Diabolist and Diabolist at this point. But yeah, Hellcaller is a lot of fun. Malevolence is like a baby Dark Soul. You can just slam it. It's a bit of haste, some stacks on Shadow on your Withers, and damage dealt to all targets affected by it. And by playing CDF and Cata, you get permanent Withers. As long as you cast CDF basically on cooldown, it'll extend them indefinitely, which is very fun. It feels fluent. It feels like it's well built. Unlike AF with Agony's falling between Vile Tanks and everything else. AF's still fun too, but the synergy is there. It flows exceptionally well. And this is where I want to start. Also, this build's playing Fire and Brimstone here. I am a fan of Fire and Brimstone. I've liked it a good bit lately. I don't think it's utterly insane. You could pull this point and just toss it up here and Ash remains if you want him for a little more single target, but either way, this is where I'm going to start. I think it's solid. I expect Hellcaller to be pretty good. I think Demo, with the buffs that's coming in as well, to Hand of Gul'dan, Dreadstalkers, Grimoire, and the core economy, is, I think Demo in general is being slept on a little bit in M+ right now. So we'll see where it goes. Gonna try out a lot of Hellcaller tomorrow. Today, I'm filming it on a Monday, but it's coming out on Tuesday. And just go from there. I'm excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. I'll put links to these builds, the new builds, down below in the description. And once again, the website, kalamazi.gg, will be up to date after Tuesday/today when this video comes out stream with the builds. And we will go from there. So thanks for watching, guys. It wraps it up, and hopefully it helped maybe give you all a bit of a good starting point for some talent builds with the changes that are coming in later on today to Aff, Demo, Destro, and Hellcaller. Now, like I talked about in this video a little bit, I'm really excited for Hellcaller stuff. I like Diabolist, I like Soul Harvester, but Hellcaller was the front runner for most of Alpha and Beta. It was really exciting. Love Malevolence, minute cooldown, feels like a little Dark Soul. And like later on in Beta, it got nerfed a bit. Soul Harvester got buffed. Diabolist was just solid in general. And it sort of fell by the wayside. With these changes coming in, it looks to be a decent bit better in M+. So we're going to find that later on today on stream. But yeah, hopefully the video helped you out. Like always, any weak auras, add-ons, profiles, whatever, what have you. Links to Twitch as well as Discord and a website up here and down below if you guys want it for free. And also, like always, a massive shout out and thank you to all my patrons for all support on Patreon. Y'all, thank you guys a million times. Like always, I greatly appreciate all the support there. If you're looking at supporting a Patreon, should be a link also up here somewhere as well as down below in the description. We'll see where things land with the Destro build. I'm starting with CDF stuff, and I mean, with the buffs coming into most of our toolkit, like, I mean, Conflagrate, Immolate, Incinerate, Chaos Bolt, and all that. Shadowburn's still good, but I like the CDF build a bit more. Maybe the hybrid Shadowburn CDF build sees, like, maybe it's still... I've enjoyed playing it a lot, and maybe I'll end up playing it more tomorrow than I think, but I want to start with CDF stuff and go from there. And an Aff also, Wither Hellcaller feels insane. A lot of fun, so we'll see where it goes. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.